Hey traders, Raghi here. Let's get a quick audio and video check in. Should be good to go. All right, good to see everybody. Rocking. All right, that's what I like to hear. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Happy last day of June. All right, so there was a question I just saw earlier from Doug. Welcome, Doug. And the question was regarding the schedule. So once you log into the futures dashboard in the members area, Doug, and everybody who's looking for, a lot of the goodies that we have for you guys back in the members area, you'll see that there is, and I have a weirdo app running, so I don't know if it's affecting it. Hang on one sec. Normally on the right side, and I don't know why it's not pulling right now, you would see a trading room schedule. So I don't know if it's just ours that isn't working or if it's an issue. Let me double check here. And survey says no. Okay, so for whatever reason, Strage. Let me just double check because I got so many different apps and blockers, and yeah, it just seems to not be working site-wide. Right. Well, I can tell you, Doug, basically what you're gonna today. All right. So between now, 9:20 a.m. and about 11:30, I try to give you guys a 5-minute break before David gets here. It's going to be me. Okay. And then from 11:30 to about 12:30, it'll be David. And then we have some tech sessions that come in after that. And then I can't remember what else we have. 2 p.m., Neil will be here. And then Neil also takes you through the close. And I think sometime just after David, I think we have Joe at 1, but I'll have to double check. All right. So just check back on that link. And yeah, I don't know why it's not working this morning, but that's normally what you're going to see. All right. Okay. So Doug, again, welcome. And that's pretty much the schedule. We give you guys breaks in this room. I know that, you guys have a life and lunch, and some of you like to go to the gym or get a workout or get a walk or whatever. And we don't want to encourage a lot of trading during times that we're not trading either. I think that except for Neil's, right after the doldrums end, there's a midday trade that Neil takes, but it's as the midday doldrums are subsiding, sort of normal volume starts to return, and he's got a setup he'll look at around then. And then, of course, there's the open and the close. So, I think the room reflects kind of a realistic trader schedule. All right. So we'll give you guys some breaks. Then during those break times, we do have tech, simpler tech. And Doug, for a lot of platform questions, indicator questions, all that kind of tech support stuff that is a very real and steep learning curve in trading. I don't know where you are along it, but all of us had to travel it. Those tech sessions sure take some of the potholes out of it. All right. What am I anticipating at the bell? Dallas volume. That's what I'll be. I mean, who knows? We'll see what happens. I don't anticipate Dallas. I'm a counterpuncher. I'm not going to guess at what's going to happen unless the only thing that I can know before the bell, my friend, is whether or not we have a gap. That's primarily what I will know at the bell, whether or not we have a gap and whether or not that gap psychology is enough to justify any early within the clearing range setups. I'm a counterpuncher, right? So I wait for the market to do something and then I react to that. So, but the only thing I ever anticipate at the bell is volume. That's it. A lot of opinion. All right, let's see. What else do we have? Hey there, Stevie B. Hey, Judith. Hey there, Ed. Zim Sam. Hey there, Dan R. All right. Fomo Momo, Ralph, Baby Bear. Good to see y'all. Derek, thank you very much. Hope things are pleasant. It's getting hot down in Florida. Hope everything's good in Colorado. All right. So what were you guys looking for? Baron? Oh, the schedule. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's blank. It's just something happening within the site. Someone will get on it. We'll fix it. Let's see what else we have here. Hey there, SB. No picture of myself today? Oh, gosh. First thing in the morning? I wasn't planning on it. I mean, unless there's going to be a mutiny. Now, I wasn't planning on it. Let's see. Am I adding to long positions? Let's see what happens. Again, I'm not trying to be coy. Let's just see what we get. Let's see if the market moves down to levels that we can do something with. Same thing with the natty gas. Can natty gas move up to a level that I'm willing to do something with? Thank you. So I'm just waiting to see if I get my pitch, Dallas. Does that make sense? I hope so, but we'll see. And we'll just have to wait and see what we get. I think we had a small opportunity for it yesterday. Those of you who had already been through the mid-month pullback, that June 11 pullback to the June 1.5 buy. I mean, this past Monday kind of felt similar to that. It was something we talked about going into Friday and the end of the week. So yeah, maybe we'll get another opportunity. I'm just going to see what we get. What else do we have here? Let's see. Hey there, Rocky. Bridge and I moved up our wake up an hour because the heat. Oh gosh, yeah. It's Florida. We have 2 seasons in Florida. Rocky, you know that, my friend. Hurricane and summer. That's it. Got a foot of hail over the weekend. Golly, I'll take the hail, I think. Well, it depends on how big it was. I'll take baby hail. I won't be able to open up the office again until October. I love the wintertime because I can open up the office. I won't be able to do that for a long, long time. All right. Being able to see me in the room. Oh, gosh. I don't even know that it'll work if I plug it in once the room is started. I just figure it's a distraction, to be honest. Like who needs to see my mug? Well, the charts are far more interesting. If I woke up looking like Halle Berry or Selma Hayek, then I'm with you guys. But that hasn't happened yet. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know if it's gonna work. All right, let's see. What about construction season? Oh, luckily, Kelly D, where I live, it's pretty much, yeah, we're pretty developed. Construction season, yeah. Eric said I wake up looking like Brad Pitt. That's not a bad thing, Eric. All right, the bell has rung. You guys do have the notes. And let's see. I don't know if that worked. I've got no idea. Did it work? Maybe yes, maybe no. Oh, I did. Okay. All right. You guys asked for it. You got it. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and let me do this. Let's go take a look at the charts here. What have we got going on this morning in terms of, so if you guys have the notes, and hopefully you do, you'll notice what the calendar looks like today. It's a nightmare. that calendar looks just awful. In other words, we've got so many different events that are going on in terms of hot zones, in terms of volatility. Yeah, it's gonna be a challenge. So what I call today a caution day. Before anybody goes, oh my gosh, Rog, not another caution day. The thing that I want to remind everybody of, and did someone say the webcam's working? Guess I should have brushed my hair and done something today. All right. Yeah, I'm not gonna entertain the webcam every day. Okay, so let's take a look at what we have in terms of, well, if you take a look at the notes, what do we have in terms of the calendar? Take a look at Econo Day or Forex Factory. All right, I don't even know where I'm supposed to look. David makes this look so easy. So take a look at Econo Day or Forex Factory. That's super important, gang. Econo Day or Forex Factory, because, let's see. I'm looking at the calendar right now. All right, because what we ultimately will have is let me go to the calendar. There we go. What we're going to have is just a ton of, it's Fedpalooza. We've got Jerome Powell with Treasury Secretary Mnuchin testifying in front of Congress or the House. We've got Kashkari, Bostic. I think I have it all listed out. We have Williams. We have Brainerd. Who else do we have? We have a consumer confidence number at 10, which is going to be right at the end of our clearing range. So we'll have a 15-minute run to the Chicago Purchasing Managers Index. And then we're going to have our consumer confidence number at 10, which may affect the way in which we get some breaches. So the first question I have to ask you guys is, and I'm looking at some of my charts here. All right. The first question I have to ask you guys is, did y'all have a chance to take a look at the premium video last night? And I'll probably go ahead and make sure that we keep that premium video somewhere accessible for you all, because that premium video is going to be something that especially you Momo traders out there are going to probably really like in terms of an indicator set. All right. Now, if you take a look at the notes, I'm going to bring the notes up right now. Where are the notes? So for those of you that are brand new to the room, well, welcome to my office, or at least half of it. And every day, well, not every day, but nearly every day, I send out my personal notes, the notes that I operate from, the levels that I'm watching, and I'm opening up Tuesday's notes. So part of the calculations that I give you guys is where the 4 p.m. close was. You'll see that there. What the daily price movement ranges are, which I just take from AutoChart. So I eyeball those. So I'm looking at averages, okay? And then the gap psychology, whether or not that gap psychology is in play or not. So the thing to, lower my chair here, the thing to remember when it comes to gap psychology is either we gap up to 31.55.50 or gap down to 29.62.5, okay? We either do one of those two levels. If not, gap psychology is not in play, and therefore we do not have a setup in the first, say, 5 minutes. Because what happens with gap psychology is there's typically this fade that happens. The market sees a gap up and it wants to short it. The market sees a gap down and it wants to buy it. And so that's where the gap can offer us occasionally an interesting setup. We are nowhere near those levels, gang. And so I calculate those levels. You'll see them in the notes. That way you don't have to worry about doing it yourself. Simultaneously, let's go to the charts here. I'm going to open up the NAS. This is TradeStation, by the way. So we have our 7 a.m. anchor on the V-score. what I want to see are what the V-score extremes, the high and the low of the standard deviation of the volume weighted average price. So this is a Z-score on the VWAP. All right. So what I'm looking for are what the extremes are. So I know I can see about a +3 to the upside, which I'm really not interested in unless we're looking at that as a potential target. And then I'm looking at the lows. You see there the lows between 830 and 845 there? Those lows between 830 and 845 that are printing at, let's see here, that's what, call it 2.5. All right, call that 2.5 on the V-score. Yeah, so what you can do, and you can do this on your notes, or, I'll usually just write this down on a piece of paper. All right, so on the NQ, my V-score extreme low, my V-score low, I'm going to call it 2.50. That number is actually, if we want to get really specific about it, that number is, actually, look at that, 2.50. All right, so then I can look at the ES. And again, I'm really most interested. Now, so this is remember, gang, this is the 7 to 930. We can have another set of V-score extremes between 930 and 10. All right, so on the ES, I'm looking at 227. 2.27. Again, this is 7 to 930. On the YM, let's see, V-score extreme, low, 2.51. And that's a negative. You guys do know it's a negative, and put the negative in front of there. So I'm just literally jotting that down. And then finally, RTY. So there's a lot of number crunching that not a lot, but there's a significant amount of number crunching that I'll do. And some of it is just taking reads. So I've got this 229, but I've also got this 201? 229. So RTY is a negative 2.29. Those are the V-score levels that if we were to come back down and revisit, I'm willing to be a buyer at. All right, so if it hits those levels, exactly, if it hits those levels, I am definitely open to being a buyer. Yeah, exactly. All right, coffee time. Okay. Markets are going up. You guys know I'm bullish, right? I've been saying for a while that the conversation about the de-risking was way, way, way overdone. The conversation about whether or not this market would sell off into the close, and we saw the source of the conversation, the persistence with which they wanted to help us. And they're such good people. I call BS. So I said, look, this de-risking, this idea that we're going to see the indices move lower while the bonds move higher, that zigzag, that yin and yang of the de-risk. We'll see if it happens. Let's go take a look at what bonds are doing right now, though. All right, so if I take a look at bonds right now, they're moving lower. That doesn't look like de-risking to me. Can you smell what the end of the month is cooking? Look, it's Powell. Powell's coming up too. So does the market typically like to rally in front of Powell? Oftentimes, not only will it rally in front of Powell, sometimes it will rally after Powell. So the old reaction of buy on the Powell, sell on the news, that hasn't necessarily worked as well. So let's not forget, we've got an onslaught of Fed members who are going to do what? Talk about what a great job they're doing and how well the economy is doing and other such nonsense. But the market's buying that. Hook, line, and sinker, right? Okay, so let's see what else we have here by way of questions. Let me take a look at the chat window here. Let's see. Now, if you watched the premium video yesterday, one of the things, oh, let me start up my Thinkorswim platform. Give me one moment here. All right, and welcome to those of you that are just joining in. See some folks still logging in. If you're wondering why I'm on video, blame Stevie B. He made me do it. All right. It's getting tossed up and running. So one of the things that, all right. So Henry, yes, it's a caution day. Absolutely. And also, if we get a momentum setup, part of what I talked quite a bit about in the premium video is understanding that you're going to have an indicator set for exhaustion trades. You're going to have an indicator set for momentum trades. And it's really important that you differentiate when you use which, right? That's really important to understand when you use which. So this is my momentum. And by the way, just a show of hands that I cannot see. How many of you have 10X and the conviction dots? That was a huge, really, I'd say after the squeeze, probably one of the more popular indicators that a lot of folks have. You don't need it. If you have it, cool. You don't need it because I'm going to be using it in the chat room and you can figure out if it's something that's going to really move the needle for you or not. But on the open, what do we see? Neutral going to some conviction. Now, if you watched the free video yesterday, one of the things that I talked about, and you can look at it this way. Think of it as T for market trend plus V for volume plus C for conviction. And you could even put conviction and propulsion together. So kind of like, can you guys see that? Yeah. Think of it that way, right? Trend plus volume, conviction, propulsion. That's your MOMO. That's your momentum. That's even potentially, if you want to look at it as a breakout, however you want to look at it, that's the juxtaposition between an indicator set that looks at underlying market trends and prioritizes retracements versus what happens when the market just takes off, and how do we measure that? And how do we trade that, right? So we'll definitely talk more about that because it's a question that I get a lot of. I probably got that breakout question, especially when the market started behaving in that bullish only way, probably since late May. I've gotten that question a lot. So I thought, you know what? It's summer. Summer school is in session, so we can definitely look at that. All right, so Henry, yes, it's a caution day, but it doesn't mean that we can't trade. It simply means we want to be more cautious, smaller size, utilize options, more conservative entries, things like that. All right, let me move this camera kind of out of the way here. All right, so let's see. Hang on, I'm scrolling down here. Questions. Rocky says, I like the webcam, but I'm not sure I'll be brave. I'm not brave enough. I'm just making sure I don't ever catch a glimpse of myself. For whatever reason, when I turn the webcam on, and I don't know, I'll have to ask David. David, can you see yourself when you're on the webcam? I mean, I can look at the camera, but I actually can't see what you guys see. So, all right. I mentioned I changed a V-score. Hey there, Judith. You mentioned that you changed your V-score to 7 a.m. so I could focus on the volume coming with the U.S. market. You got it. Has anything changed with the impact of the Asia market? Okay, so Judith, in the morning, once we call it when New York pours its first cup of coffee, my mentor told me, hey, Rob, keep an eye on volume and volatility coming in around 7 a.m. Eastern. That's New York pouring its first cup of coffee. And then after the bell rings, I'll still keep, so when the bell closes, when the market closes, the bell rings, the market closes, I will slowly, if I'm going to trade the Asian session, I will slowly transfer or change, update that 7 a.m. anchor to 2 a.m. And I'll go back to that 2 a.m. So somewhere between the close of the market and if I'm going to trade the Asian session, which I have not been doing lately. I've been going to bed really early and getting up far earlier. And I've been trading sometimes 3:30, 4 a.m. in the morning. I've been doing that a whole lot more. So has anything changed with the impact of the Asian market on the U.S. that influenced that decision? So it really wasn't what the Asian market was doing. It was really what mood the market was consistently in once the U.S. markets opened, because we could see Asia sell off, Europe sell off, UK sell off. We'd come to U.S. and it was bullish. Who is, like we kind of joke in the room now. I love it. Buy all the things. U.S. opens and it's buy all the things, right? So I wanted to reflect what that sentiment was better, and that's why we anchored it to 7 a.m. So Marcus, if we get down there, so that's why I'm juxtaposing this. Let me move this out of the way. All right. So that's why I'm juxtaposing sort of this momentum look at the market and the sort of exhaustion retracement look at the market. Now, what we can do on this layout here, and we'll talk about this layout throughout the week, gang. I mean, I'm not gonna, there we go. Okay, so we can put the, I have the Waikiki running here. That's fine. You know what, just in case, I'll go put the FMB on here. And you guys can download the FMB and or the Waikiki, whatever you like. You can download that from the room drive, okay? So FMB, clearing range 3, and I'm going to put the FMB propulsion dots on there too, because I'm really interested for sure in the 8. Absolutely. I'm going to make those a little bit bigger. Those 8 buy and sell dots, let's make those a little bit bigger, because if you watch the premium video, you know why. Okay, I'd like to see those 3-8 crosses as prominently as possible, because they are really much more of a momentum type trigger. Okay, so let's then also put the FMB study on here. 30-minute. And am I on 30? Okay. We do have a number of propulsion dots right now. So some of you might be asking, Rog, what time do they start? 8:42. You know, I was watching those. I thought, darn it, they started a little too late. They did start a little too late. Because I was thinking maybe we could look at a 15-minute breach. A 15-minute breach. If I go to 15, what I was wondering is if we had enough propulsion dots. Could we have had sufficient propulsion dots for that 15-minute entry within the clearing? Not looking like it. Ah, darn it. That would have been really, really nice. All right. Anyway. And by the way, if we have a 5-minute breach, if we have a 15-minute breach, and we can then also get a 3-8 cross or a conviction dot along with that, my Momo traders, you're going to like the way that that works. And I'll definitely get into more detail about that. Couple questions here. So Judith, Marcus, I think let me know if I didn't address those questions. If I didn't address them well enough. Henry asked, why did I choose those exact levels in the RTY? Do you mean by way of the HPMR or the levels? I eyeball it. Henry, you know, I've been staring at these numbers for like a decade. I just eyeball it. It doesn't have to be, you know, spot on precise. However, I did get this question, and a few of you asked, hey, Rod, I want to be that precise. How could I do that? And so some of you will know once you sign up for the auto chartist, which is $145 for the year, right? And you look at the volatility analysis, you'll notice that there is a download CSV file in the bottom right-hand corner. Does everyone see that? In the bottom right-hand corner. All right. So you can download the file and get the specifics. I mean, if you want, oh my gosh, I think auto chartist gives you data like to the 9th decimal place. It's very, very specific. Okay. So you can do that. You can download the daily, you can download whatever you like for sure. Okay. When did I have a throw caution to the wind day? When did I have a throw caution to the wind day? Have I ever done that? I don't think I'm capable of doing that. Yeah. All right. YM may come down. Yeah, let's go take a look at that. So we'll do this. So of course, this is our momentum view. And maybe we get down to the HPMRs. Don't know. Actually, did I update my HPMRs yesterday? I was in hardcore Forex mastery mode yesterday, and I might have neglected to download my own darn indicator. Gosh, okay. Luckily, they don't change that dramatically. From week to week, but I think I did neglect to do that. Let me do that right now. By the way, so all I'm doing is I'm going and taking all those think scripts and I'm going to import them. And did you see that window that drops down from the top? So do you really want to replace the RH? Yes, because what that's going to do is overwrite the previous version. You don't want multiple versions sitting on your Thinkorswim platform, even if they are not active on your chart. You do not want them active, or even multiple versions of the same pack active simultaneously. You'll blow up your toss. You'll throw a rod. All right. Okay. So I have that updated, and yeah, is the YM going to get down there? It's a really good question. So will the YM retest our, so that might be a laggard today. So that'll be one thing to keep in mind. And then we might want to also look at Y, meaning what are the heavily weighted stocks within the YM or the DIA and who's dragging this thing down, because NQ's up, because ES is meh. So you've got NASDAQ as a relative outperformance leader. So from a strength standpoint, that's your best look. That's your best look. Dow, relative outperformance to the downside. Russell would be second. And then, of course, ES is in that tug of war between the NASDAQ on one hand and the Dow on the other. So it's kind of stuck in the middle. All right. Getting there. I agree. Not quite there yet. Remember, we do have that consumer confidence number at 10. We have the Chicago PMI already. That's where we're getting all this. See all this stuff that happened at 945, 946? That's your Chicago PMI. That's your volatility right there. You see those those wicks and those candles that happened after that? That's your consumer confidence number. All right. At 10, and then Chicago PMI, wow. Chicago PMI numbers were expected to come in at 45. Wow, that's very generous in terms of a consensus. And they actually printed 36.6. The previous was 32.3. So in 5 more minutes, we're going to get our consumer confidence numbers. So that's your Chicago PMI. We'll have the consumer confidence numbers at the top of the hour, which could create another, volatile type response. In the meanwhile, the NAS just keeps right on rolling. We've got ranges in place. Okay, terrific. The other set of V scores that you're going to want to write down are the 930 to 10. 930 to 10. So we're not quite there yet, and I'm much more interested in the lows. My 930 low on the ES, 0.73, negative 0.73. On the NQ, you've got pretty much on the open is when we got that low print. Negative 0.29, so negative 0.29. YM, $9.30, 9.3, negative 9.3. So this is the 9.30 to 10. So we have our 7 to 9.30, and then we have our 9.30 to 10. If you look in the notes, those are the two V scores that I recommend that you keep an eye on. And then finally, we've got our RTY, and that is negative 0.64. Okay, so write those down. Those might be in play as alternatives to V-score extremes. Now, I'd rather see the 7 to 930 V-score extremes come into play. And if you notice, they are far, far lower. We have a lower low on the YM. Okay, thanks for the second set of eyes. Yeah, right, we did. So I got a 162. Thank you. Thank you. I got a 162, negative 1.62. All right. So by the time 10 o'clock rolls around in 2 more minutes, we'll know what our V-score extreme lows are for, well, we already know what they are for 7 to 930. Now we'll know what they are for 930 to 10. All right. And yeah, I want to be a buyer, gang. But here's the thing. So can I just buy the V-score? Yeah. But if I can get an overlap between V-score and HPMR, I am way happier. We're just nowhere near that. All right, so if I don't get that, all right, what are my 3 choices today? I can do V-score only. It's the same choice I would have every day. I can do V-score only. I could do HPMR only, right? Or I can start to stack. I could do V-score HPMR, stack, right? In other words, they're overlapping. I can do, and then the last thing I can do is, well, not last. I can do a MOMO, like we were talking about, using volume and conviction dots and those kinds of things. Or I can do our breach retreat, or even breach retest. So really 5 things I can look at. Let me write that down on the notes. So for those going, okay, Rob, what are the things that I can consider doing in the morning? All right. 5 tactics, 5 things to keep an eye on. All right. 1, and this is not in any particular order, okay? V-score only. Does that make sense, gang? Am I losing anybody there? V-score only. Does this make sense? Or let me take a look at the chat window here. Yeah? Okay. All right. So let me write that down here in a moment. So did somebody ask if we're going to short the NAS? No. Where's the camera? No. No shorts. Since June the 10th, one of the things that we talked about, one of the things that we went all in on was long only. So if the market sells off today, I won't be on that ride, for better or for worse. All right. I can do HPMR only. Where are we? We're still moving higher. Look, remember that if you take a look at the notes, when does Powell open his mouth? 12:30? I won't be surprised to see the markets rally up in front of that, gang. Keep that in mind when it comes to Powell. All right, I can have a V-score and HPMR. Let's